Can you give us a sense of when you think that ceasefire will start, sir?
Well, I hope by the beginning of the weekend. I mean, the end of the weekend. At least my national security advisor tells me that we're close. We're close. It's not done yet. And my hope is by next Monday, we'll have a ceasefire.
All right, while eating ice cream with late-night host Seth Meyers, Biden casually dropped that he hoped for an Israeli-Hamas ceasefire by next week. Call it mint chip diplomacy. Body language expert Patti Wood is with us. All right, Patti, I mean, everybody's hopeful, right? When you're eating ice cream, everybody's excited and hopeful. But what was the president really telling us?
Well, you know, it's created a gotcha moment for him because eating body language is joyous, buoyant, it makes you smile, it's silly, and he's stuck with an ice cream cone in his hand, and he's ask about a ceasefire in Gaza. So his body language naturally does not match that question, that the seriousness, the gravitas of that. So they created that moment for him, but he does subdue his body language as he's asked the question. What I liked, what made me feel safe about his answer, safe about the situation, is he answered calmly and matter-of-factly with a certain level of confidence in it. And that voice, the paralanguage cues, that matched the question in a way that showed authentic belief that it can happen, that the ceasefire can happen. It looked crazy because he's got an ice cream cone in his hand.
Well, look, we've obviously followed the president's issues when it comes to speaking extemporaneously and in these moments over the past couple of years, and we've seen him have some hard times. You and I have talked about him. He was actually sort of at his best at this moment, and I think what struck me, and we'll play the clip, without the sound again, but he sort of started to answer, and then he kind of stopped himself, and then he restarted. Was that authentic, or did he have the second part of that answer pre-planned?
Well, part of that is he's had a stutter since he was a small child. And so sometimes people with a stutter have learned to start again to get clearly through a statement. But also, I think it was that switch. He wanted to make that switch of, I was just asked a question about something incredibly serious. I want to make sure I match that. I come to that place of seriousness in his demeanor.
So
I didn't feel like it was he was puzzled or searching for the right answer. I didn't see any of that, the stuttering.
You almost think if they put him in more situations like that, he would do better. He was on Seth Meyers' show as well. It's kind of an odd place to talk about Israel, Hamas, and do that rather than say from the Rose Garden or talking to reporters boarding Marine One or whatever, but that's where he chose to do it. Here he is talking about Israel, which obviously he has a big problem with when it comes to Arab Americans. He's trying to put a lot of pressure on Israel. Here he is. Take a listen.
Israel has had the overwhelming support of the vast majority of nations. If it keeps this up without this incredibly conservative government they have, they're going to lose support from around the world.
How does he look so different there than he did in the ice cream shop?
Well, I think here he's doing this gesture that I think is meaningful. He is holding his hands in a slight grasp, palms down, because he, in this moment, is being asked can he calm down this situation in Gaza? Can he make Israel make the right decisions? So he's holding that down. And as he is further into this statement, you actually see him make a patting down motion as he talks about the situation. I kind of like that. It makes me feel like he's in control of the situation. He's not flailing his arms out like this. So
there's another politician who kind of does that, isn't there? Kind of flails their arm. There's another politician that kind of flails their arms.
I wonder why they came to my mind this evening.
I don't know. But thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.